same room together. So this feels, I feel kind of cool.
Because of the COVID situation.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it's worked out. And Key, I feel like we've got so much bestie because of the Raider love. Like, by the end of this, we're going to be kumbaya and holding hands coming out of Seaport. Like, it's going to be so awkward for you.
I get along with everybody, man.
Hey, was this show ever virtual? Were y'all always in studio? Did y'all survive in the studio through COVID? Did y'all have to work?
We went home for probably a month, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe a month. I think we were at home.
It's nice that outside's open again, guys, safely.
And then we were doing some stuff up in Bristol. We were kind of like all over the map a little bit.
Yeah, well, at least we're all together here in this moment. And obviously tonight, we've talked a little bit about what happened last night. Tonight is all about the Bucks taking on Atlanta and the war of attrition that the NBA playoffs have become. And so all eyes will be on what the status of Giannis is. We'll get you a little Straight Talk here, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. That comes from Bucks coach Mike Budenholzer when he was asked about the status of Giannis, and he gave us a very blunt answer.
Whatever the release said is what it is. Doubtful. At some point, you got to pull the trigger and make a decision, and we'll probably do that, and then we'll probably tell you we don't know who we're playing and starting and all that, and then a tip off or whenever you guys will get it, and it's kind of the normal routine. We should have our medical director come and speak to you. You guys got the coach to talk to you, so I think it'd just be best to leave it at he's questionable, and Giannis is going to do everything he can to be available.
Now that's some Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Should be noted, as far as we knew, he was doubtful, but Coach just said he's questionable, so...
Is it, Fitz? Is that Straight Talk, or is that just trolling? I mean, I part of me is like, you're not going to tell us, we get it. But the other part of me is say less and say that you're not going to tell us. Like, don't try to be cute about media members trying to do whatever it is that we do.
I don't know. I kind of like the hey, we're not going to tell you anything and go all the way up to. Would we not receive this message differently if it wasn't Budenholzer? Like, Coach Bud doesn't necessarily have the cool factor or the benefit of the doubt right now. Everybody is just 1 foot out the door with him for every time they lose a game, it's oh my God, the Bucks are done, which is only funny to me because they've been down 0-2 and 0-1 at different times in these playoffs and they've adjusted and come back. But we don't give any credit for the Bucks' ability to come back while we do for the Clippers. I'm just saying.
I don't know if they're if they're down and they're going to be out of it because Giannis is doubtful or not doubtful and probable and not probable and all the different little thingies. I don't know. But what I can say is if Giannis doesn't play and Trae Young plays, then Atlanta will take Game 5. That's what I can bet on.
Go ahead and go past Game 5. Talk to me about the series.
If it's a wrap, though, if Giannis don't get back in it.
Facts.
If Giannis don't get back in it, Monica, it's over with it, especially if Trae Young plays.
Facts. I am almost willing to go if both superstars are out. I take the Hawks over the Bucks. Maybe. I'm almost there.
But at what point do we have to look at the rest of the like we look at the Bucks roster like it's Giannis and a bunch of trash, and it isn't. I mean, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are being paid for a reason, and I don't just mean let me say that again. They're getting paid,
big paid. I'm with you.
$160 million and $177.5 million, respectively. Like that's not you can lose a series to a bunch of guys not named Trae Young money. Like that's you can go out and win a series money, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with Jay Will the other day, and this sort of kind of conversation came up. The problem is when you haven't done it before, it's very difficult to do. And what I mean by that is when you got a LeBron James and Kevin Durant, those guys have carried teams by themselves, right? Chris Middleton and Drew have not. So if you're asking them all of a sudden to play a role that they've never played before, it's very difficult to do. You look at Paul George, when they lost Kawhi, he stepped up. But he was the Lone Ranger to a degree in Indy when he was with the Pacers. So he understood that role. I don't know if a guy who in Middleton has been somewhat of your closer while Giannis is still giving you 30-plus and however many boards and blocks and assists, and he's closing in the end, where are you going to get all of that Giannis is leaving behind from? Who?
Not even just the production from Giannis, although I think that's a great point. the way that defenses have to account for Giannis opens up everything for Middleton and Holiday if they're going off. I don't know that those two, I even think back to Holiday in New Orleans, right? When DeMarcus Cousins was an all-star, like that unit, AD was still out there. I don't know that those two can account for defenses being able to double them, right? Or run two at them. And then, is the rest of that supporting cast going to hit shots consistently enough? Are they going to cut consistently enough? Are they playing off enough so that we're making defenses pay for those adjustments? So, I don't... The Hawks feel a lot like Golden State feels or felt when they hit the scene. Not that they're about to be the dynasty that the Warriors were, but in terms of a young team with a signature style, length, shooting, the Hawks are going to do what they're going to do, and you're not going to, very rarely are you going to question their effort and confidence when they hit the floor.
But let me counter that. It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, by the way, presented by Progressive Insurance. Jason Fitz in for Zubin, Monica McNutt in for Jay Williams. We're talking to Keyshawn Johnson, obviously. Let me counter this a little bit, guys, because I agree with everything you're saying. But most of what you just said, Monica, was said 48 hours ago about the Hawks and why without Trae Young, there wasn't going to be the ability to replace the scoring, and the guys wouldn't be able to have the open looks they thought because Milwaukee would be able to counter their defense with less weapons. And Key, I would counter and say, this isn't the Bucks taking on a LeBron-type led team. This is a young Hawks team that doesn't have that person that they can look at and say, well, he's had to be the LeBron through the playoffs either. So both of those situations.
But they do.
I almost think that actually plays to the Hawks' benefit. Because the Hawks they played team basketball in that win, right? Lou Williams came in, had a signature game in a playoff, one of his best playoff performances to date. But I don't even know that you need that. Bogdanovich can shoot the lights out of the basketball. If Gallo is on in terms of shooting, Cam Reddish is back on the floor defending like he was giving Chris Middleton fits. You know what I mean? To me, if both superstars were unavailable moving forward, and this comes down to coaching, based on this season, I think Nate McMillan is going to have an edge in terms of Bud because of the length, size, and what I think the Hawks are able to do on the defensive side of the ball. I have trust issues with the Bucks. To your point, we probably should put them in the category with the Clippers a little bit more.
I think and she mentioned Lou Williams, and so when you look at Lou Williams as a starter, you sit there and go, but as a second unit guy, he's the second unit guy who's gonna fill it up. He just happened to start and fill it up in that particular playoff game. And then when you talk about Bogdanovich, he's healthy again, so he's gonna knock down the shots. And they're gonna spread the floor. If you add Trae Young to the mix, they're young and they're exciting, but they also understand each other as a unit. And then you say Nate McMillan with experience, both in playoffs and in coaching, that goes a long ways. Well, you got another coach on the other side, and Coach Bud, who's stressed out right now. People are calling for his head, and he doesn't have his star player. They lose Giannis, although Giannis started off game 4 shooting threes and airballing them. So that told you right then and there it wasn't going to be a good game for him. So it's a situation I think Atlanta can win. Chris Middleton probably will have a good game tonight because it's at home. We've seen his road luck, how he shoots on the road, both in the Nets series as well as in this Hawk one. So I think Atlanta can win it. I don't know that they will at home tonight. I mean, in Milwaukee tonight. I think Milwaukee will take and have the edge.
We'll see how it plays out tonight, obviously. Coming up next, a bunch of college buddies getting together in Vegas. So what's the big deal? We'll tell you what the big deal is after Key tells you about Straight Talk Wireless.